Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the top 5 quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft. In my opinion, I'm going to be looking at their strengths, weaknesses, all that good stuff. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright, coming in at number 5, we've got Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones, he certainly brings a lot to the table, but he also has his flaws. He put up some great numbers, some downright insane numbers, like some of it last year at Alabama, as they had one of the best offenses I've seen, that, and obviously LSU's 2019 offense. But yeah, he comes in at 6'3", 214 pounds. Last season, he put up 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. I say his main strengths are his decision-making, his IQ, and, just that kind of stuff, presence in the pocket. But physically is where a lot of his flaws come in now. He's got a good arm, but he doesn't have like the, most insane, not like one of those 6'6" quarterbacks with an insane arm. He's not very fast. Mobility is kind of a weakness for him. And I mean, if you look at him, he doesn't have the best body as you look at, his other athletic quarterback. He's not an athletic quarterback like other guys we're going to look at in this list. But he's still a good player. I mean, he put up the highest graded season for a quarterback since 2014 with a PFF rating 95.8, which is pretty insane. Obviously, he led Alabama to a national championship. But the other thing with Mac Jones that I look at that I worry about for the NFL is that throughout his whole career, he's had it kind of easy. I mean, he's had the best hands down offensive line, the best hands down wide receivers. And so I'm interested to see how he's going to transition when he goes to the NFL, when he's got guys coming at him and he's a guy who's not the most athletic, and he's got, wide receivers who aren't going to be getting as open as frequently as the wide receivers he had back in college. So there's a lot of uncertainty there as well with Mac Jones. So that's why I have him lower down, but all in all, he's still a great quarterback. All right, next up at number 4, we've got Trey Lance. Now, admittedly, personally, Trey Lance is the quarterback in this group that I know the least about. Coming into the season, I really didn't know much about him at all, but researching him and hearing about him through the course of the year, even though his team didn't play this past season, we've seen that this guy has some pretty insane numbers and some pretty insane measurables. So he comes in at 6'4", 226 pounds, so much bigger and physically has more physical, better attributes than Mac Jones. And in his one full season, he's only played one full season at North Dakota State, he had 2,786 yards, 28 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and then also ran for 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. So this guy is a really good quarterback and a great athlete as well. The first thing that jumped out to me, though, about him is the 0 interceptions. Now, I talked about Mac Jones having good decision-making. I mean, going a 4 year without throwing an interception, that's a pretty big accomplishment. So that's definitely a strength for him. But his main strengths are just his size and his athleticism, his natural gifts. I mean, 6'4", 226, that's good NFL size. He's super athletic, can run really well. His arm strength, obviously, that goes with his size. His weaknesses, though, are pretty simple. So the biggest thing is the lack of experience. As I said, he only played one full season in college, and he played at the FCS level. He didn't play it against the same levels of competition, obviously, as the other guys in this list. And like going along with that, he's very raw. And some scouts have also said that his vision isn't the best either, like looking for guys downfield. He'll often not go through his progressions and he'll sometimes rush passes. All in all, though, even though I think he's raw and he could take some development, I think this guy has the potential to be a really, really good quarterback in the league if he can stay healthy and he can continue to develop on the path that he's at. All right, coming in at number 3, we've got Zach Wilson from BYU. Now, Zach Wilson really exploded and came onto the scene this season. I had not heard much about him. I'd heard of him, but I hadn't heard much about him. But then this season, I mean, he really just exploded. I mean, went off this past season, he threw for 3,692 yards, 33 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, and led BYU to a really good season. I mean, that no one really expected. Even though they didn't play the best competition, Zach Wilson was still extremely fun to watch and really dominant throughout the season. Throwing the ball, very mobile, great athlete. So I think he's definitely going to be a great prospect for the NFL. Looking at his measurables, he comes in at 6'3", 210. He's kind of slim, has a slim build, which some people say might hurt him a little bit, but it also makes him quicker, more athletic. He's able to move around the pocket. He's not really a big runner like Trey Lance is. He's not going to run for 1,000 yards in a season, but he's athletic. He can get around and he can get away from the pressure. His main strengths are his mobility. He's got a great arm, throws a great deep ball too. So that's what he was always known for. BYU, he put together a lot of explosive plays. That's what that was a signature of BYU's offense last season. That was kind of what he did, and that's what led BYU to go to the place that they did. And that's his biggest strength as a quarterback. His weaknesses, though, are his size, and also, like Trey Lance, go back to talking about BYU's schedule, he's a bit unproven. He only had one really good season. I mean, he had another season where he started, but he was pretty average. And this year, they played against, admittedly, a pretty weak schedule, and he was dominant, but there's still not a whole lot out there to back this dominance. Didn't do it against some great teams. So that's another thing that's going to be interesting to see for him moving into the NFL. How will he transition to playing against more athletic and better defenses every week? All right, coming in at number 2, we've got Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields has been a guy that I have loved watching ever since he was at Georgia. I knew once he got into a system where he was going to get the opportunities and get to really showcase his talent and potential that he was going to be a great quarterback, and he was. I mean, he has been one of the best quarterbacks in college football throughout the time that he's been at Ohio State. This past season, even though it was a shortened year, only played 8 games, he had 2,100 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but in his last full season, he had 3,273 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He comes in at 6'3", 228, pretty good size, like definitely one of a more bulky guy, which will help him, unlike, a guy like Zach Wilson. Not the tallest, but, decent. It's not bad. His main strengths are obviously his mobility. His great running ability. He's really quick, really athletic. His accuracy is really good, especially down the field, and his arm strength. He's got a pretty good arm. Not an insane arm, but he's got a pretty good arm. That'll translate well to the next level. His weaknesses, though, is his biggest weakness is he struggles under pressure, as well as his pocket awareness. That's kind of where it all revolves around, him struggling under pressure, and it's something that he's really going to have to work on in the NFL, because he's going to be having much better athletes coming at him every single week, and so he's got to figure out how to navigate the pocket better and just work better under pressure if he's going to succeed in the NFL. But overall, though, I think he was a great quarterback in college, and I think he's got a good NFL career ahead of him, and I've got him number 2 on this list. Coming in at number 1, the obvious choice, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, where do you even start with this guy? I mean, this guy is just an absolute beast. One of the best, most talented quarterbacks we've seen in a while in college. Coming out of high school, the number 1 player in the country, just an insane talent. I mean, if you look at him, he's just a quarterback that you'd build in a lab. I mean, 6'6", 220 pounds, perfect size, elite arm talent. I mean, he can throw the ball all over the place. Great deep ball, great accuracy. He's athletic, he's mobile. He showed in the last couple seasons that he can run to go along with that elite arm. I mean, it's hard to find any weaknesses on this guy. I mean, just look at him through his whole college career. I mean, in games that he played in throughout college, he only lost twice in 3 seasons. I mean, just ridiculous how talented this guy was. And I think as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to go on to have an insane NFL career. I mean, because he just has all the traits. I mean, he has all the traits of an elite NFL quarterback: size, athleticism, arm talent, accuracy. I mean, even the character, he's a high character guy too. He's going to stay out of trouble. There's no worries about that. I mean, I think this guy has serious potential to be an absolute star in the NFL, and I'm excited to see what he does. And I think he's the obvious choice for the number 1 quarterback, and he will be the number 1 pick in this year's draft. Yo, thank y'all so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what y'all thought, who y'all's top 5 quarterbacks are. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more draft videos, more football, college, NFL content. But yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. And as always, Godspeed.